Unless you get surgery, you're stuck with the body you were born with. So just work with what you got, do what you got. Don't try to kill yourself on no diet because God knew how He wanted you to look. People gonna accept it. They're not gonna accept it. Some guys gonna like their girl. Some guys not gonna like their girl. It may be days I still want to be a little 10 pounds lighter. Some days I may not. But it's just like I feel like once I accepted that, it's just like okay, what else?
I tell it like it is, but I always make it nice.
Putting the boss in boss babe.
One thing about me, I'm going to ask the right questions.
Just know, I always say what needs to be said.
I'm Bria.
I'm Sydney.
I'm Rebecca.
And I'm Shayla, and this is For Your Information Podcast. Woo!
Hey, y'all, we are back with another episode. How's everyone been since last week?
About the same. So pretty good, moderate.
It's been pretty good.
Yeah, nothing special. It's the same.
Okay. I was looking forward to this weekend, so yeah. I'm glad it's here.
Same. I've been same, around.
Feel it.
So last week we discussed our younger selves, but this week we're talking about who we are now and body image. And this topic was kind of inspired by one half of the musical duo Chloe and Halle. So you guys probably seen or heard by now, but they got separate Instagrams. And so Chloe took to her Instagram to start posting some more photos and videos of herself. Some people thought she was posting things that were too revealing. Some people thought she was doing too much. Some people thought she was looking for attention, But later on, she got on live to address the situation on Instagram Live and said that she's had a hard time growing up with accepting her body, how she was thicker than a lot of the people she was around, how she had stretch marks before a lot of the girls that she knows. So we are here this week to talk about our body image. What do you all think is the biggest influence on your body image?
Social media. Literally first-hand experience. I feel like growing up, we had like Facebook, MySpace, and social media was strictly fun. No one was worried about, oh my God, I want a bigger butt. Oh my, like you may watch music videos and like, oh, she was nice, blah, blah. But I feel like as we got older and like we've seen the merging of how Instagram models and that whole like spectrum of women who get their body done are like becoming popular. They're making money off their body. I feel like it's inspired, well, not even inspired, influenced everyone's body image slightly. It may not be all in like a negative light for some people because some people may have been shy about talking about getting a BBL or getting lipo or whatever. So now since it's so popular, it's like, oh, okay, well now I can join that wave. But then for other people, it can be very damaging on how you view yourself and other people. And I feel like sometimes the images that we see of people is not even realistic. Because I see people on YouTube are like, I want to go to the gym to look like so-and-so. And it's like, girl, if you got hip dips, your hips not about to look like this after. Like, you're not about to have the parentheses hips. Like, no, like literally genetically, the way gyms work, you're not about to look like that. So I say social media has influenced body image and mine as well. I can't even lie. How about y'all?
Yeah, I definitely agree. Like social media, I think especially when we were growing up was like a really big influence because it was like influencers were emerging. People were watching like YouTubers, like you were saying, and like you're exposed to so many different ideas at the same time. Like you're forming your own idea of what like body image is that I think it can definitely impact one, how you see your body, and one, how I saw my body. But I think it's kind of like a double-edged sword now because social media does still have like a big influence. Like people can look to influencers, can look to like typically skinnier people or like specific body features that they're looking for in social media and like aspire to that. But I think on the flip side, there is like a growing community on social media that's looking at body image as like, okay, I want to work out for strength, or I want to work out for like different reasons besides just like what I want my body to look like, but how I want to feel within my body. So I do think that social media has an influence, but I think it has its pros and cons, like everything with social media.
Yeah, I agree with y'all. I do think that it is social media But I think the original source of it for me would probably be music, and then like the music videos and stuff, because prior to social media, that's what we grew up on. So like hearing the stuff that they were like fantasizing about in the music videos and like rapping about, that to me is probably where my first kind of ideas of like body image came about.
Yeah, I do agree that social media and the music plays a lot into it, but also, body image and beauty standards have been a thing since the beginning of time. So I think for me personally, my body image was shaped by what I saw growing up in my family, and just, going to school and noticing what the boys talked about, noticing who that they chased and who they wanted, and also hearing girls talk about themselves. I'm sure we can all relate unwarranted comments from older people in our lives, you know. Um, and I think Black girls in particular are influenced a lot differently when it from music and music videos and rappers and singers and artists and things like that. Because like Shayla was saying, we hear the things that they talk about. Like, prime example, Lil Wayne said, "Beautiful Black woman, I bet that B word look better red." Like, interesting. Things like that. But social media definitely does play a role in it. But for me, I think me personally, social media has done a lot for influencing my self body image for the better, because as y'all can see, and if you guys look on my social media, if you're listening and see, I'm a big girl. I've always been a big girl, and it's really up until I think 6 or 7 years ago, I'll shoot and say maybe 8 or 9 years ago, that was the worst thing you could be. If you were a big girl, you were just kind of like cast away, thrown to the side. You were the butt of every joke. And this isn't just in real life, but this is in media, movies, music, everything. You were the butt of every joke, cast aside. You were an undesirable. You were unwanted. And then the body positivity and plus size bloggers came out on social media, and it was like, whoa, okay, look at these women. They look like me. They look like the women in my life, the women in my family, because I come from a family of big people, and they're thriving. They look beautiful. They're wanted. They're desired. So I can be that too. So I kind of had the opposite experience with social media and body image.
That's cool. That's different. I didn't even think of it that way, but I totally agree. I feel like, kind of like you said, especially with an African American and Black families, growing up, if you don't eat enough, it's like, girl, you're so skinny, you need meat on your bones.
Right. What you want to
your bone.
do?
It's like, it literally is if you're big boned. Oh, it's okay if you're not skinny. You're just big bone. It's okay. Like, you're just not going to be skinny. And it's just like, that also plays like a whole different role. So you're right, Rebecca. I didn't even think about that.
Yeah, that's probably like the first place we really do start learning about it, from like what we see at home. Because I know I always wanted like a shape like my grandmother, just based off of seeing her. So, it's like little stuff like that that you don't really pick up on the fact that you're internalizing it, but you are.
Yeah, true. I think that's definitely true too. And I don't know if this counts as body image necessarily, but I think that definitely your family has like a role in how you view yourself. Because I remember, even if it's not like negative per se, I remember like my mom, she used to get her hair permed, and I was like, yeah, I really want to get my hair permed too, like to be like my mom, like have straight hair and stuff like that. And of course I ended up getting a perm at that point, because it's like, yeah, my mom's like that. So it definitely does, I think, influence how I personally viewed body image. And I think a lot of people, like we just said. That said, how have your views on your body and body image changed since you've gotten older?
My views on body image has changed so much as I've gotten older. Like I said, a lot of comments from people I grew up with, from family, and just things I saw in general definitely took a toll on my body image. And I talk about it sometimes on Instagram, but not as much as I used to. But my body image has gotten so much better over the last few years or so. For one, I talked about seeing the plus size bloggers and the that movement, you know, as I was kind of coming into myself and my grown person body, that definitely did a lot for my self-esteem and my confidence, because before that, there has never been bigger women being celebrated on any public platform, you know, that they were the butt of every joke, and it was kind of socially acceptable for them to be the butt of every joke. And then also when I went to Howard, my self-esteem went through the roof because I think I've talked about it on the podcast before, I don't know, but where I'm from, Black girls, like regular, I hate that term regular Black girls, but you know what I'm saying, you know, Black girls, it's obvious we aren't mixed with anything. They weren't the hot commodity growing up, you know, the hot commodity, you either be not Black or mixed with something, you know. So then when I went to Howard and when I went to DC, it was such a 180. Like I went from kind of being invisible when I was going out and walking down the street to, you know, people stopping me on the street to talk to me, or going to parties and not, you know, kind of putting myself in the back. So, you know, guys would just be able to talk to my friends, you know. And body image, I'm not saying everything has to do with who's attracted to you, but I think people play themselves when they like to say that attraction doesn't have anything to do with body image. You know, like it's not everything, but it definitely does change things. I think especially if you're a woman, it changes things a little bit more. But, you know, going to Howard and seeing so many like Black girls and Black people that, you know, they just instead of trying to hide it, they just accepted it, you know, and
Like
they were
accepted their
proud of the way they looked. Yeah.
accepted their like features and themselves,
the features
and celebrated it.
and the hair, you know, the way they dressed, the way they talked, you know. So I say that experience of moving to DC and going to Howard for all those years, and the body positivity movement on social media definitely, and of course the inner work I've done it myself, but those things definitely changed it for the better.
For me, mine is like a work in progress. So it's still changing, like as we speak, still trying to figure out, all right, these are things that I like, these are things that I don't like. How do I accept what I like, what I don't like that type of thing. So right now, I'm gonna say that mine is like a changing work in progress.
I definitely think that it makes sense for body image to be a work in progress. I mean, as you age, I think your views of what beauty is, of yourself and just who you are, definitely change. So definitely agreed there. For me personally, since I was younger, I think I relied more heavily on external ideas of who I was and like my body image, more so than what I thought about my body and like how I felt in it, like I was saying earlier a bit.
Ooh, that's a good one, Sydney.
Yeah. So like when I was younger, I was pretty much since like the fourth grade or so, I was like that tall girl in the class, like taller than the boys or something like that. And then like, of course, the boys got taller, but then I was still like this taller, a little bit gangly, not many curves, little teen. So not to say like that, that's not something, I don't know. It definitely had an impact on how I viewed myself, because curves was something that was like celebrated a lot in media, like in the music videos, on social media, even just in day-to-day, like interacting with my classmates and friends and stuff like that. So it was definitely something that had an impact on my body. So it's like, you know, should I wear a bra size larger? You know, things like ideas like that did come up. But I think at the end of the day, it just came back to, and how my idea of what body image is kind of shifted, I think, when I started to do some of that like inner work, and then also be surrounded by people, like Rebecca was saying, Black women, especially, whether that was at Howard or just in my day-to-day life, who had similar features or celebrated those features. So whether that was, being a little less curvy, being a little bit taller than the traditional, or if it's hair too. Like I remember, and I know hair is not like the major thing for body image, but yeah, I was typically finding myself, especially like this end part of high school. I went to a school that had very few Black people. It was predominantly white and Asian. So our features, non-Eurocentric features, were not typically celebrated. And I think during that time period, I had to make a choice for myself. Like, how did I want to show up for myself when I was thinking about body image? So I personally was also transitioning my hair to natural at that point, which was seen as like this taboo. And that just kind of, again, was one of those ways that I took ownership of like, this is my body. This is how I want to appear in the world. And I like this feature. This is who I am. Like my hair is curly. And I want to celebrate that. So in short, how my views of body image have changed. It's in flux. Of course, there are days when it's up and down, but overall, I try to just approach it from the stance of, who do I want to be? Who am I? And am I celebrating myself at the end of the day?
I like that, Sydney.
Kind of what Sydney said and Rebecca a little bit. Honestly, and you too, Shayla, that'll eventually be my answer. But speaking on like the hair aspect and like the men aspect, it's like, okay, for example, with our hair episode, we were saying certain hairstyles attract certain guys. So then you're just like, oh, maybe I should wear my hair like this. Oh, maybe I should wear my hair like that. But for me, when it comes to body image, this is going to sound, it'll make sense when I explain it, but it's going to be like a little oxymoron to what I just said. But I kind of hate where men come to play with body image. Because like, growing up, especially in the South, everyone's thick. So it's like, especially when you're younger, you're thick, men look at you different. Men are like making slurs at you. And it's like, as I've gotten older, kind of like Rebecca said, when you're in DC, people holler at you down the street, chase you down the street, anything. So it's just like, yeah, it's cool. I kind of boost up your self-esteem. You're like, okay, I am on it. But then sometimes it's just like, I feel like guys in particular, I won't say Black men because I feel like this has been a fetish thing for years, and we can go back to slavery. But I feel like some guys just fetishize over thicker people. And with me being thick, I used to hate that for so long. I'm like, okay, growing up, you have old men looking at you in like a sexual manner because you have thick thighs. Or then even when you're walking down the street, guys are making slurs towards your thick thighs or your butt. Or like literally, y'all, I had one guy tell me, I was like, oh, like I feel like it's crazy because a lot of guys who say they like thicker women, like their wives or their girlfriends end up being like, Slim Jim. And there's nothing wrong with being slim at all. Because we've all had our phases where we want to be super snatched, and our phases we want to be a little thicker. And honestly, I've been in between both, especially growing up. But I'm like, why is that? He was like, honestly, it's because I just feel like most guys realize after you get a thick girl, like maybe she has your baby or something, over time she'll just fall off. And like, I was like, what?
I heard that too.
And literally, I'm just like, that makes no sense. For the longest,
I've never heard that.
Yes, and for the longest, like Shayla even knows I'll be on these weird diets. Like, girl, I'm trying to be snatched. She was like, oh, you're thick. I'm like, girl, I do not want these thighs. So like, growing over time, like I would say with quarantine and literally me being stuck with myself for like a year, not being able to do anything, really made me realize, like, girl, unless you get surgery, you're stuck with the body you were born with. So just work with what you got, do what you got. Don't try to kill yourself on no diet because God knew how He wanted you to look. People gonna accept it. They're not gonna accept it. Some guys gonna like thick girls. Some guys not gonna like thick girls. It may be days I still want to be a little 10 pounds lighter. Some days I may not. But it's just like, I feel like once I accepted that, it's just like, okay, what else? There's like nothing else to do. And it's just like, guys, y'all know y'all can shove y'all's opinion. Yay. The place doesn't shine. But speaking of that, how I mentioned surgery, what are you guys' thoughts on cosmetic enhancements? And would you guys get any work
done? Me personally, let me preface this by saying it doesn't matter what I think or what anybody else thinks about what other people do with themselves. I'm not going to lose any sleep over somebody getting a BBL. I promise I will be just fine if somebody decides to go get a BBL. But I think for some of those things, you should ask yourself why. You should ask yourself why, because it's not a recent thing, but some of these enhancements I see, especially a lot of Black women getting, this stuff is insane. Like these insane enhancements, like it doesn't, I know you're not comfortable. Like, I know you're not comfortable with just, doing stuff like moving throughout, the world, running, climbing, sleeping, all that stuff that you do, I just think, I don't know why people do what they do. Once again, like I said, I will not lose sleep, but it's just like especially the extreme surgeries, I think you should ask yourself why. But this is the Leo about to speak, but I don't think there's anything that I would need to get enhanced. The only thing that I think I would do as I get older is like maybe some, like, I don't know, maybe filler. I think it's filler from my under eyes. I have naturally deep set under eyes. But that's it.
Yeah,
I think there's like a go ahead.
Mine is quick. I agree with you, Rebecca. It is a person's prerogative. Whatever they do with their body, that's their business. That's what you choose to do. Some of the stuff I do think is kind of cool, like BBLs and like that transformation. Will I personally get one? I'm a little bit scared of needles and blood and all that stuff. So I think I'm good off of that.
Terrified.
Now, maybe like some of the fake stuff that probably doesn't actually work, like the suctioning and all that stuff. I'd probably try that. Waste money at a medical spa or something like that. Try that, see if it works. But but as far as like to like really sit here and pay $10,000 and wake up and like just not have the same body, I'm fine. I'll pass.
Well, let me say I'm not anti surgery. I may, down the line get me a little cool sculpt. If I have some,
That's like
a little pudge
the
here and
stuff.
there. I think that stuff is fine, but like I'm just talking about the crazy stuff, like the stuff that affects your quality of life. Yeah.
Yeah, I can definitely. I think it's a thin line. Again, like everyone's said here, I think you should do with your body what you want. But health is definitely a factor. So just think about the long-term impacts and potential consequences of certain more extreme surgeries. That said, my views on body enhancements, cosmetic enhancements, I mean, I don't have any problem with them. I think if it makes you happy and it'll keep you healthy, then go for it. But again, just think like, why is it making you happy? And in what ways? Like you have to think about not only the health, the physical health that comes along with that question of like getting a cosmetic enhancement, but also the mental side of it. Like why are you making these decisions? And not to say that there has to be some kind of like mental issue or anything like that in order to get a cosmetic enhancement, but just like make sure you're thinking about it, thinking about the why and all of that. So with all of that said, I personally am terrified of surgery. Even it's like even for like an actual like if I needed it, I would be terrified of it. So I will not be getting any surgery planned. No, there's no plans to do that in the future. But I would definitely do like the more external cosmetic enhancements that you guys mentioned. So for me, I have like hairy arms. So that was something that I was kind of self-conscious about when I was growing up.
Me too.
So like I definitely used to think like, oh, I should get like hair removal or something like that. So
yeah, stuff like that. I feel like it's like kind of harmless.
Yeah, it's like those kind of cosmetic enhancements. But one question I do have, not thinking about surgery and like those more major cosmetic enhancements, what do you guys think about like the permanent eyebrows getting tattooed or like permanent lip tinting and stuff like that? Do you also count that in that cosmetic enhancement category, or like what do you think about them?
If it floats your boat.
I think that's still cosmetic enhancement. This girl I went to school with, her mom got eyeliner tattooed. I don't know how that worked.
Oh yeah,
but she got it. And I'm like, okay, Miss Girl, go for it, Yeah,
I know people that have like tattooed eyebrows, and I think that they look fine as long as you like keep them up. I don't think that that's that big of a deal because it's no different than like getting a face tattoo or like getting any tattoo. Honestly, It's just on a different part of your body. So
yeah, so I think all of our answers are kind of just whatever floats your boat, just be healthy.
So outside of like cosmetic enhancements, what do you think are good ways to build your body image?
I would say a good way to build your body image in a positive light is just to just speak positive on yourself and just have like positive affirmations. Like instead of saying, oh, okay, like I want to go to the gym and lose 30 pounds like the thighs, just be like, hey, I'm gonna just work out as much as I can, build my endurance. And if I do lose my thighs, I lose my thighs. If not, hey, at least there's some progress. And even if you are working out or planning on getting the surgery, I feel like people fail to forget, although you may not see external progress all the time, there's little progress. Like you go to the gym every day, you may be like, okay, my arms are not getting smaller, my stomach is not getting smaller. But if you keep doing that for a couple of days, it eventually will. You may see something, 1 inch come off, that's better than nothing. So I just say instead of thinking in a negative way, just take the positive out of it and be like, okay, it's eventually gonna come. Whatever happens is gonna happen. Whether at the end of the day I gotta get surgery, like if you're my 600-pound life, of course you can't just do regular activities and be so like you gotta get your surgery for that and come back out this table and do what you gotta do that, and that's okay. Just be positive about it.
Yeah, I think kind of similarly, some of it is reframing how you think about like body image in itself. So whether that's like going to the gym, for example, initially you might be going to the gym to be like snatched and, getting those, whatever enhancements you want going on from the gym. But you could also reframe it and think, okay, I want this kind of health outcome. I want to be able to lift this amount of weights, or I want to grow strength or endurance. I want to be able to walk down the stairs and not lose my breath, like those kinds of things. Where like it's just reframing it in a different kind of light that is a bit more positive, a bit more, it's not like tearing yourself down, like I need to change this or else like people won't accept me, that kind of like thought process, but more like I want to change this in order to, enhance my life. So I think that's one way of thinking and building self-image. I think the other one is also having grace with yourself. So like, okay, you may not have, you may not look like what you want to look like, but that doesn't mean like you can't reach that. Or just coming and accepting some of the features that you do have and like stepping into celebrating what you already have, because I mean, everybody has beautiful things about them. You just need to recognize it.
Rebecca?
I say putting yourself around people that look like you, whether that's on social media or in real life. If I look like me, how I look, and my social media is only skinny white girls with long blonde hair that be at the beach all day, that's going to eventually start messing with my psyche. It's going to eventually start messing with my psyche. So, having images, positive images of people that look like you, just to remind you that you can look like you and be amazing. You can look your best just how you look. But also affirmations, looking at yourself in the mirror, just kind of like looking at yourself. I feel like sometimes with social media, our image of ourselves can get distorted. So just spending time like looking at yourself in the mirror, looking at your features. And yeah.
I think for me, mine is pretty simple. Just determining who you are, who you want to be, and how you want to show up in the world, and just sticking to that and not letting anybody else influence it.
Yeah, I think those are all wonderful ways to just change your perception of body image, and then also, build up some confidence a little bit. That said, what is everybody's favorite feature about themselves?
Mine is my smile and my eyebrows.
Oh, okay. She said, rattled on. I
feel like mine isn't a distinct feature, but I feel like I like my skin because I rarely have like bad breakouts. Yes. Y'all know my skincare routine? Precise. So I would say my skin is my favorite feature. And my skin.
I say my face. I really like my face. Like my face is my favorite feature. Like I always say, like even on my worst day, I like if you pull my face card, it's always there. It's always there.
Okay.
Sydney.
I don't know. I would say probably my smile. I smile a lot, so that's one thing that. Oh, thanks. And then probably two. This is so funny. So my legs, because my arms are like noodles. They have no shape.
You said Sydney the Stallion.
But like my legs, like I like to run and stuff like that. So I just feel like whenever I'm thinking about like strength or stuff like that, like I just think, my legs, they take me where I want to go. And that's the way I think about it. But this has been fairly enlightening, ladies, talking about body image, following up on last week's episode talking about growing up.
So yeah, let us know how your body image journey has been in the comments below. Tune in for next week. We're going to have a really cute Valentine's Day episode.
Bye guys, stay tuned.
Bye.